Hello and welcome to Frank's School. Happy Thanksgiving. In real time, this is Thanksgiving morning before dawn, 2013. And briefly, I've been teaching about Wedge's paradigm in the context of that, but for today I want to go back to the project of discussing hymns. Sometimes this is called a Thanksgiving hymn, but it's probably more often known as We Gather Together. That's the hymn that I want to discuss. And then after a couple of days, Advent begins, and I'm going to go into the Christmas carols. Anyway, it also might be known as We Gather Together to Ask the Lord's Blessing. If you would Google this or look at Wikipedia, it would give you, this has an interesting history, this Thanksgiving hymn. It's Dutch, and and it was, this is a translation into English. It was originally written in celebration of a victory in the Netherlands over the King of Spain. Netherlands was occupied, it was Spanish, it was the Spanish Netherlands for a while. And during that time, Protestants were not allowed to gather, to worship, but after that victory they could. The tune, I guess, is a folk tune, but then it was harmonized differently later. And as I say, it's got quite a history to it. It became, at first it wasn't allowed to be sung in hymnals because it wasn't based on a psalm. The Dutch Protestants for a while would only sing words of a psalm. Here comes Roger the cat to help me, I think. But then they finally allowed hymns in, and it was the first one, I guess, in the hymnal. You can read all about this. I'm not going to give all the history. It's when you hear it performed in the subsequent video by this ad hoc choir that formed to help me. It's in the key of C, which is a little low. It makes it easy to play on the piano. For someone who's not real good on the piano, it's not hard to play. But it's a little low for the voices, and if you really have a good ear, you'll notice that this ad hoc choir tended to go sharp. I think in their hymnal, it's written in a higher key, and I think they were maybe more used to singing in a higher key. Well, anyway, part of the history of it is that it became a tradition about after World War II in America for families to sing it around the table at Thanksgiving or even at other times when there was a family gathering. I didn't really know that. I knew that my family did that. My father would give the note to start, and I have four sisters and myself and my father and mother, and we would sing the first verse of We Gather Together in four-part harmony. My mother wasn't much of a singer. Dad was a good bass, and I was not so good of a bass, but not a good tenor either. But I sang tenor. I have one sister we're all sentimental. And she was so sentimental that she almost could never make it through without crying. But anyway, I had no idea we were part of a bigger tradition, that other families did that. Now, after my father died, we stopped doing that. So the tradition ended for now with my family, but not necessarily. My daughter sings tenor, my wife sings alto, I sing bass, we need a soprano. Anyway, and I guess enough about the tune. It's a good tune, it's a good hymn. But anyway, I'm also, the second line goes, He chastens and hastens His will to make known. That's the sentence that I want to pull out the diagram. It's interesting to me. His is capitalized because it refers to God or Jesus. That's traditional spelling. And as far as the diagramming of it is concerned, you could pause it and then see if you could diagram it. And if you've done that, now I'll go on and show you how the diagram goes. I think I've got that right now, and you probably didn't get that right because of this part right here. but there's some interesting questions here. If you chasten some, and for vocabulary, in class vocabulary, I would use this word. I don't think everybody knows that word. In class vocabulary, I say he chastens, and maybe that's all I'd need. That would show it's a verb. What's that mean, to chasten? Well, it means to punish, but it also means to make pure, to punish for the purpose of making pure. Chastise, or chastisement, is punishment, and chastise is probably a little more common than chasten, although neither of them are common. In class vocabulary, I put a V over it. It's a verb. So you chasten somebody. It takes a direct object. It's transitive. Hastens. Well, hasten means to hurry. And when this internal rhyme, chastens and hastens, it caused us confusion when we sang, because which one do you say first? And we finally realized, well, it's in alphabetical order, and so we could get that right. We'd only sing this really once a year or once a family gathering. But if you hasten, usually you think of that as I hurry. Well, that doesn't take a direct object. That's not transitive, but it can be. You can hasten somebody. You can make somebody hurry. And when you think about what's meant here in this translation, is God, the Lord. You can see him chastening, yes, punish to make pure. But does he hasten? Does he hurry around? Probably not. He hurries us. He hurries his believers. So this is probably transitive. And both of these, being transitive, would make for more parallelism. But in any case, the direct object isn't here. All we find out is why he does that. Again, you could pause it and see if you could diagram it, and I'll see if I have room for everything. He chastens. Of course, there's a simple subject. Here's the simple predicate. Hastens. And he chastens and hastens. Why? Why does he do that? This answers the question why. And this is an infinitive phrase. To make. To make. That's why. To make. To make his will. Will. To make his will. But it's not... this would be a little confusing, because it would look in diagramming as if maybe the sentence would start there. To make, not to make his will, it's to make his will known. This, you can just put it here. This is an objective complement. That's something that often throws sentence diagrammers. And one of the things that I say is, imagine you could say the word to be known. If you did it like that, it would be to be known. It's not, but he chastens and hastens to make his will to be known. But it's just known. Since I'm diagramming sentences from poetry, very often there's an apostrophe present. In other words, the words are in unusual word order. To make his will to make known. To make his will known is what we would normally say. Let me try this now. I'll just leave it. He chastens and hastens his will to make known. To make his will known. Yes, there it is. Cats. Not helping the cats. Anyway, I hope you now will go to the second video for today, which is the ad hoc choir, doing a cappella version of this. Again, happy Thanksgiving.